Hi, my name is Morgan Kern, and this presentation is a reflection of my service project I completed for servant leadership. I had the privilege of volunteering at my local library where I supported several early learning literacy programs for children as well as their caregiver. This experience not only helped deepen my understanding of servant leadership, but it also reminded me how servant leadership is showing up even in small ways. It's still meaningful. I chose the library because early literacy is something I care deeply about. It's part of my major, educational studies. As Greenleaf has emphasized in reading and learning through the class, servant leadership begins with a desire to serve first. Libraries are inclusive and welcoming spaces that serve as early learning hubs for many children. The summer program provided, or multiple summer programs provided, a chance to create joyful and educational experiences that reflect both my values in growth, community, engagement, and compassion. I had volunteered for a total of 12 hours at the library. I did 4 different events from Baby Lapsit program. I also helped plan an event for children and caregivers that we could come together for an hour just to allow our children to learn and socialize with other kids their age. I also did a STEAM session where kids learned to make quicksand, and then an early literacy hour for toddlers who got to pretend to be librarians for an hour. Each event served children age ranges from a couple months to, I think the oldest we had was 15 at the quicksand STEAM event. By facilitating early learning through play and storytelling, I helped cultivate a space that encouraged imagination, social bonding, and literacy development, which are key pillars of lifelong learning. Greenleaf had proposed a test of servant leadership, and do those served grow? I did see the growth firsthand. Children got to explore language, they got to explore songs, stories, creative activities. Caregivers got to come together in conversation and community, and knowing that they're not the only ones out there maybe experiencing certain things. As our textbook has noted, servant leadership promotes autonomy and personal development. This experience helped children and adults grow socially, emotionally, and intellectually. Throughout this experience, I practiced several core leadership skills, including empathy, listening, and commitment to growth of others. For example, during playtime, I had spent time kneeling with children, helping them build confidence as they explore. The library has a little location of toys and dramatic play, like kitchens and stuff like that, and getting to see children explore their surroundings and learn new things was really exciting. Even my son, watching him explore and learn with other kids his age and interact, it brings me such a joy. As Spears has highlighted in 1995 in his writing, listening and empathy are fundamental to servant leadership. I ensured caregivers felt supported and acknowledged with their concerns in celebrating their children's participation. One moment that did stand out during early literacy hours was when one of the shy kiddos was hesitant to join in and not really sure what was going on during the pretend to be a librarian. I just gently invited her into the activity and validating her in small steps, so when she got to scan in a book and completed it on her own, I made sure to cheer for her. So I saw her start to open up and engage with the other kids around her, and I've seen it in my own son, who's really shy to start out with. Most kids are at that age, but as he gets warmed up and people are encouraging his participation, he starts to open up more. And I think that allowed me to realize that servant leadership isn't just about the big gesture. Sometimes it's just being present and a little patient and encouraging, and that allows for the children, but obviously also adults, to really feel confident in what they're doing. So like I said, this aligns with servant leadership because it's building environments where others feel safe to grow. While I felt strong in empathy and presence, I did recognize some of the growth I could have, coordinating transitions between activities, managing the time. I tend to go over in my time, just because I am extremely passionate about early literacy and reading, and things like that. So I went over a couple. I get so excited for the kids to learn and just participate that probably overexcited. So just making sure I'm managing time better. As I continue to grow as a servant leader, I want to be better about balance and responsiveness and structure. This project reminded me that service doesn't have to be flashy or impactful. I saw how consistent, intentional interactions can influence a child's sense of belonging or caregivers' trust in community resources. I personally found that the library has been such a huge pillar in our community, being near a military base, where there's not always a ton of resources for spouses specifically. Being able to go to a public library and kind of have this community of other families or parents that are experiencing the same thing you're experiencing is extremely helpful. It did strengthen my passion for creating inclusive, growth-oriented environments, values that I definitely do see myself carrying into the future. And there's obviously a few snapshots in my PowerPoint where you can see the kids doing some STEAM activities. I think I did some quicksand. You can see some of the setup. I think there's a picture of the young kiddos that did the librarian. Overall, it was just joyful, and I really enjoyed it. I think this has allowed me to reflect in connecting and learning and serving. And then on the final slide, you'll be able to see my reflection and analysis. So thank you so much. I do appreciate you listening. And I'm grateful for what I learned, and I hope it's inspired others.